The mummified giant finger of Egypt. Did giants really once roam on earth? Well, we know that even the Holy Bible, the Old Testament, tells us about giants. Remember the Exodus of Egypt, Moses and the 12 tribes. They sent one spy from each tribe to see what was going on in the promised land, and they were like insects towards these giants. So we also know that even at the time of King David, Goliath and his brothers, they each had 6 fingers, 6 toes. They were giants compared to normal human beings. In March 2012, a piece of sensational news was published by the German edition of Bild, which stated that the remains of a giant were found on the territory of Egypt. It was a mummified finger of a creature that resembles a human, but far exceeds a human in size. The Egyptian giant finger reaches 38 centimeters in length. Did giants really exist in ancient Egypt? Well, they existed in Israel and the areas there, obviously. They must have existed in the whole area, even in Egypt. Now, the Egyptian finger reached 38 centimeters. To compare the size, there is a banknote next to it, and according to the publication, the photos are dated in 1988, but they were provided for the first time, moreover, exclusively for this German newspaper. The photos were taken by a Swiss entrepreneur and a passionate admirer of the history of ancient Egypt, Gregor Spoeri, and according to him, in 1988, one of the private suppliers in Egypt promised to organize a meeting with the robber of the ancient burials. The meetings took place in a small house in Bir Hooker, 100 kilometers northeast of Cairo. He showed the Spoeri the finger wrapped in rags, and according to Spoeri, it was strong-smelling, oblong-shaped bag, and its contents were amazing. Spoeri was allowed to hold the relic, as well as take a few pictures because he paid them $300 for it. For comparison, he put next to a banknote of 20 Egyptian pounds. The finger was very dry and light. Spoeri noted that it was unbelievable. The creature to which it belonged should have been at least 15, 17 feet high, almost 16 feet, 48 inches in height. To prove the authenticity, one tomb raider showed a photo of an X-ray of the mummified finger in the 60s. The certificate of authenticity of the find was of that same age. Spoeri asked him to sell the relic, but the burglar refused, saying that its value was very important to his family. To say it was his family treasure. Therefore, Spoeri had to fly out of Egypt with nothing. Later, Spoeri showed these pictures to representatives of various museums, but they only waved him off. According to him, they all said that the finger does not fit into modern theories. In 2009, Spoeri visited Bir Hooker again to find that giant mummy finger again, but he was unable to find that tomb raider. All this time, Spoeri enthusiastically studied information about the ancient giants. Did the giants really live in Egypt? In 79 AD, the Roman historian Josephus Flavius wrote that the last of the race of the giants did live in the 13th century BC, during the reign of King Joshua. Joshua was the head of the Israeli tribes after Moses. So, during the reign of King Joshua, he further wrote that they had huge bodies, and their faces were so unlike ordinary humans that it was amazing to look at them, and it was scary to listen to their loud voice, which was like a lion roar. The Egyptian giant finger inspired Spoeri to write a book. The find had a great impact on Spoeri. In 2008, he quit his job and began writing a book about giants, and soon he published the book titled Lost God, Day of Judgment. It's a mystical, historical thriller based on Spoeri's fantasies. He notes that he did not specifically write about the find in a scientific style, giving readers the opportunity to decide for themselves what to think about this. Now, is it true that in the distant past, giants once lived on Earth? Though scientists have always pioneered that human-like beings who grow to 20 feet or more are the stuff of fiction, and even far in the past there's no evidence hominins ever got much taller than we are today, some enigmatic discoveries raise a big question against it. And we have some strange findings that prevail over our conversational understandings. New York giants. In 1871, an archaeological dig at a Native American burial ground unearthed 200 giant skeletons, some measuring up to 9 feet tall. It was also estimated that the remains could have been up to 9,000 years old. At the time, the discovery of these remains was widely reported in the media, but today the remains have disappeared. Giant footsteps. One of the most famous giant footsteps was found outside Puluzi, South Africa. It was found 100 years ago by a hunter, and locals named it the footprint of God. The print is 1.2 meters long. It's about 3.5 feet long. And if the rest of the body was sized in proportion to the foot, the giant that made it would stand between 24 to 27 feet tall. It's estimated that the print could be anywhere from 200 million to 3 billion years old. Around the world, there have been similar footprints found embedded in age-old rock. In San Jose, a 2.5 meter footprint that was found near a local ranch, whatever made it, would have towered over even the giant from Puzuli. And then in that same city, another 1.5 meter footprint was found on a cliff. In August 2016, in Guizhou, China, a series of footprints was discovered, with each print nearly 2 feet long and indented nearly 3 centimeters into solid rock. Scientists have calculated that whatever made the prints would have to be over 13 feet tall. In 1912, a 4-foot-long print was unearthed in South Africa, which was dated at over 200 million years old. Whatever humanoid made the print would have to have been over 27 feet tall. Similar footprints was found in the jungle of Lazovsky in Russia. The giants of Death Valley. In 1931, a physician by the name of F. Bruce Russell discovered some caves and tunnels in Death Valley and decided to explore them with Daniel S. Bovey, and what they at first assumed to be a small cave system turned out to go on for 180 square miles. One of the first things they discovered was some kind of ritual or religious hall covered in strange hieroglyphs, but stranger still was the discovery of 9-foot-tall humanoid skeletons. The story was first officially reported in a San Diego newspaper in 1947, and the remains were mummified and were estimated to be around 80,000 years old. However, the story quickly faded away along with the giants' remains. The Wisconsin giants. Scientists are remaining stubbornly silent about the lost race of giants found in some burial mounds near Lake Delavan in Wisconsin, May 1912. As reported in the New York Times 4th of May 1912 issue, the 18 skeletons found by the Pearson brothers exhibited several strange and freakish features. Their heights ranged from 7.6 feet to 10 feet, and their skulls are much larger than those of any humans that inhabit America today. They tended to have a double row of teeth, elongated heads, 6 fingers, 6 toes, and like humans came in different races. This is only one of many accounts of giant skeletons found in Wisconsin. From 2600 BC to the mid-1800s, Lovelock Cave in Nevada was supposedly in use by a race of red-haired cannibal giants. In 1911, James Hart and David Pooh got the rights to dig and sell the guano, which was used to make gunpowder in those days, from Lovelock Cave. They had gone only a few feet into the cave when they found the body of a 6-foot 6-inch tall man. The body was mummified and his hair distinctly red. They discovered many other normal-sized mummies, but a few were 8 to 10 feet tall. There was also many giant-sized handprints embedded in the cave walls. Conclusion: In the end, it's clear that the Egyptian giant finger has no ground except for the photos and claims put forth by Gregor Spoeri. However, there are so many other accounts conveying the discovery of remains of the ancient giants. With all of these stories, the questions that remain are, where are they now? Where's their factual historical basis? Why the historians who try to dig up these forbidden archaeology are called pseudo-historians? Bear in mind why society once put Galileo into such group of pseudo-wise people. Are we completely right about our knowledge of ancient history? And this is on Collective Spark by Inhale Ancient Mysteries. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.